Yeah, it certainly does. Hello, and welcome to our first episode of the Rat Chat, our new kind of
Woo!
gaming slash news podcast. Basically, whatever we really want to talk about for the week. We're doing the first couple in series, just about like some of our favorite games from our specific categories. This week's category is going to be RPGs, and I am the host, Liam Nitus, along with my friends Flame Mango, aka Colin, and Deathwatch, aka David. Uh, and yeah, we're going to be talking about role playing games. We will be looking into the differences between the different our different favorite games in this specific category. So yeah, so I'm gonna start off with my first pick. I picked Monster Hunter World. Did you have you guys heard about Monster Hunter World at all?
Yeah,
I
one of my
know
good
of it.
friends plays it. Yeah.
All right, so it's one of my favorite games. I have like pretty much over 300 hours into it. Just love all the like big swords, big weapons that you can get and hunt down awesome, really complex monsters. It's kind of like almost like a boss rush game. Um, Along with like RPG elements such as like understanding the ecosystem and how like the monsters have different tiers, and like there's the apex creature which fight the different monsters under beneath them.
So I didn't realize there's hierarchy to the monsters.
Yeah, so in Monster Hunter, basically how it goes, the tougher the monster, um, the higher up in the food chain will be, and basically it can fight the monsters underneath it and like throw it out of the zone that it's in. So
Oh,
whatever zone.
I literally thought it was like you go out and you find a monster, like not that it's like a living
You
like
hunt
eco. Like
monsters.
I didn't
You're,
know there was
you're
a whole ecosystem
So
behind it. That's pretty cool.
that's actually a new feature to Monster Hunter World, which is the one I'm talking about, which is the newest installment. Coming to it came to PS4 and PC later, but highly recommend looking into it. It's very um, in depth with its gameplay. It's mainly I mainly enjoy it for its gameplay, just because of how it's kind of like almost like I hate comparing things to Dark Souls, but it is kind of like it, where you have to time all your attacks to get in between the monsters' attacks and different things like that. And the harder the monsters get, the kind of like fewer timings you get to attack.
I'm trying to think if there is a terminology or a term for those two. Like it's not hack and slash.
No, it's more
'Cause it's
like
more technical than that.
yeah, I don't know. It's like
Counter.
it's like
combat?
maybe I don't know. Yeah, let's just say counter
RPG.
combat, RPG counter combat, whatever.
We're coining the term.
Yeah. Coin. Draw trademark sign. But yeah, I really enjoy that game just because it definitely gets you into the world and like obviously builds a lot of vibrant and crazy maps. So one of my favorite places in the game is called the Coral Highlands, and is basically a zone that's all coral, but like outside in air, and
Oh.
half of it becomes like almost a there's one vibrant crazy side to it that looks beautiful coral, jellyfish flying in the sky, everything like that. And then there's also a side to it where it's like where all the creatures go to die, called the Rotten Vale. So it's there's two sides to it, which is like the Coral Highlands is up here and the Rotten Vale is underneath it, almost to like where the monsters go and die. So it's cool to see like how the ecosystem works in a game.
I now have a funny idea for a video, which I don't know exists. Probably does. Everybody listening, just close your ears for a second.
Yeah.
Has anybody done a David Attenborough Monster Hunter World documentary yet?
No, not
There's
yet.
got to be someone.
There's
You
so,
have to. I mean, there
I-
has to
It
be,
might
right?
be a small channel somewhere, but someone's had to have done it.
I mean,
you got to make one.
I'm sure.
if it doesn't exist. So like in terms of the, because now I'm really into this ecosystem thing. Cause
Yeah.
You're
You're really into it?
That feels like the realest part of the game now.
I
'Cause,
mean,
like,
it is an RPG.
Yeah.
Okay, well that stands for role-playing game.
Yeah, it gets
which
you into
means
the
not
world.
yourself. Whatever. You
It
get
gets
what
you
I
into
mean.
the world.
Like, can you see things attack other things?
Yep. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened to my screen. Oh,
Yeah,
it went into
the-
the nightlight mode. Whoops.
So
Why
Well,
did
the
it do
few
that?
times I've watched my friend play, like I've only seen him play a couple times, but almost every time I've seen one of the bigger monsters just straight up maul one of the smaller ones he was already fighting.
So that's
Just
actually called a turf war. And when certain creatures, certain bigger monsters get near each other, they'll go into a turf war, where basically they ignore all the hunters and only look at each other and fight each other in a certain way. And it usually ends up pretty cool. Like there's these two dragons that's the male and female of the monster.
Ooh.
They're a red and blue dragon, and their whole like scheme is like it's an exploding dragon. It shoots fireballs out of its mouth, and when they have a turf war, basically they swirl together and then explode in a giant supernova. It's actually really cool.
All right, I have two questions.
Yeah, yeah.
One, can you watch the animals mate?
No. That isn't a
That
part of
would
the
be an
game.
extra
Why
mission
would
in the
that?
game.
Why would why?
Hey,
So
hey.
it's supposed to be a living ecosystem.
Living ecosystem. So they haven't gone in that in depth with it. Just because they obviously didn't think of that, and it's kind of weird that you thought of that.
See, that's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
no, you were talking about turf wars, and then you talked about a male and female dragon. How am I not supposed to go? That's a straight line, my friend.
I fully
Okay.
zoned out on that part. I'm not gonna lie.
Second question.
Yeah.
I know very little about this game. Are you able to tame any animals?
No. So the whole point of this game is kind of like it's
Well, you're a
almost like
hunter.
yeah. So you're well, yeah. Obviously, it's called Monster Hunter. The only thing that you can really like have and tame is there's these little things called palicos, which are obviously cats, and they're like kind of like cat assistants, where they'll help you fight the monsters, give you little things to assist you, such as like health boosters and or like damage boosters, or like they'll attack the monster with you. And you can obviously give armor to your cat and everything. It's a ton of fun. And another part of my another favorite part of my game actually is before you go on hunts you have to eat food to boost your stamina, and the whole like cutscene to like eat food and like just like change it up and everything, it's so pleasing to the eye. I'm actually gonna link you guys something real quick because you just have to see it. Eating in monster. So what's yours, Colin, while I'm looking this up?
Oh, mine. Okay. Well, in true Colin fashion, I put down 2.
Oh, good.
Because I'm not my first one. I'm not sure. Like RPG, I feel like is very broad, right?
Yeah.
Why you want me to tell my friends? Look at the camera, Liam. There, I did it. Peer pressure, I guess. Because like RPG, I feel like is very broad, right? Because I feel like there's a classic RPG that like comes to my mind immediately, which is like, I guess Skyrim, right? That's an RPG, technically open world.
Yeah, Skyrim's an RPG.
Yeah. With that type of inventory, and then maybe even Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it can. Yeah.
And I feel like those are like very classic RPGs, like how they were first developed. And that's not to say like my 2 are not, but specifically, so my first one, Hell Let Loose. Essentially, if you you can obviously look it up. Essentially, what it is it's Battlefield, Call of Duty, any of those type of games, but like hyper realized. So there's like almost no HUD. The battles are like 100 people, so 50 on each side.
I think I've heard of that actually.
And it's pretty fun. The main reason I like reference it as an RPG game is because when I play it, the only thing I don't care if we win or lose. All I care about is just playing up the the character that I want to, like, essentially it gets me to role
Yeah,
play in
role
real life,
play, yeah.
where when I'm on the ground dying and bleeding out, I'm screaming. Exactly, I'm calling for a medic.
Medic!
Exactly, because there's
Yeah.
proximity chat and then there's
Oh, that's
voice
nice.
over IP, which is essentially, I think both are technically voice over IP, but there's proximity chat where if you aren't quiet, and you're holding down a button, the enemy can hear you based on where they are. So if you have open mic on and you're like trying to sneak up on somebody and you guys are just like chatting it up, and you're like, "Yo, Liam, like,
So it's
you should go around this
PUBG.
way." Essentially,
Because they
yeah.
have
So
that in PUBG.
that's was one of my favorite parts of Warzone when we played it, was when you kill people, you can hear them for a second,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's hilarious.
Because it's like
yeah.
you sometimes you hear like
Exactly. One of my favorite moments in that game was me. I just on my own, completely, just like without any teammates, because like you're supposed to play as a team, but like you can also like do literally whatever the hell you want. I crashed a tank, like I fully flipped it, and we couldn't get it out, and everybody got really mad at me because all the tanks are manual. They're not like it's very realistic.
What?
So you have to shift in the tank.
You have to like shift gears?
Yeah, you have to shift into reverse to reverse the tank. And we wedged it like under a tree, because there's not like destructible environments, or at least not yet when we were playing it. I think it's still technically an alpha. I think it may have won a Steam award at some point. I'm not entirely sure. It's really fun. Main reason, obviously, I said RPG is just because I love to role play in that game.
I mean,
Maybe
yeah,
not, I think it's technically like a combat or like a violent game of some sort. But I like role play a lot in that
Thank
game.
you.
And then my other one, because I wasn't sure. Well, also I just wanted to talk about this other one, is Star Citizen. Liam's played a little bit of this. David has
I've
not.
actually kind of enjoyed it. Can I say some of my favorite parts of it?
Let me explain what it is
okay,
first.
Okay, yeah.
So essentially, it is the goal of its development, still in development. It is an alpha. The goal of its development is to be the most complete and most kind of open-ended space sim to have exist so far, at the very least. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But its main competitors are like Elite Dangerous. Its main differences being
How you doing, bud?
it's supposed to be hyper realistic. So the goal is, just like space combat, that's gonna be super realistic. Cargo missions, super realistic. And one of the main things they talk about, or that I've been reading into recently, is it's called Death of a Spaceman. So essentially, there is going to be some form of permadeath.
Oh, really? So you could like play hardcore if you wanted?
No, like you have to.
Oh, you have
not
to.
like, oh, you can turn like it's not Minecraft where you can be like, I'm gonna
Well,
play hardcore.
that's what it sounds
No.
like.
There is the ship that I have right now, which was $45 back in 2015 for the package, has 3-month insurance on it.
Only
so
3
essentially
months?
what that means is when the game is complete, if I don't re-up that insurance with like in-game credits, when the game releases,
What?
So
you'll
my
lose
ship
that
blows up and I'm not insured, that ship is gone. Like,
What?
It's not coming back, and you can rent.
So that's
ships.
just $45 out the wazoo.
Well, $45 in 2015. We're not counting inflation.
No. $45 straight up 2015. Oh my god.
I mean, yes.
That's ridiculous.
Unless you reinsure. Some of the ships there. So the main thing that
how much does it cost to reinsure? Do you think?
I don't know.
Is it like is it a reasonable amount?
Yeah. Is it? How do you make in-game game?
I'll say this. I bought a T-shirt in game the other day, and it was 380 United
Ruples
credits or something.
Let's go Ruples.
Yeah, credits. It's space credits.
Ooh, Ruples.
Who knows if they'll have different currencies in that game? That would get crazy. If you're like, I can't use my credits on this planet because there's aliens and they don't accept them. The main goal is it's supposed to be hyper realistic. And the term I'm going to coin, we're going to coin another term here, probably already exists. It's macro transactions. So essentially what it is, people have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on this game, and it doesn't, especially specifically on like larger ships, like capital ships, like, a Star Destroyer, not per se, but something similar to that, akin to that. And those don't even exist in the game yet because it's an alpha. So people have spent hundreds, a lot of people who play the game have spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this game, and it's not even done yet, which is the biggest sticking point people have with it. It's the reason it's been in the news so much. a lot of people perceive it. They think it's a scheme because what happens if the game never
I
gets
mean,
finished?
Ant Simulator all over again.
yeah, right. Ant Simulator. So some of my biggest problems with the game, and one thing that I do really enjoy about it is how flawless they did get the physics in that game. It is really well done with the physics. The collision detection with the ship and different things like that is definitely on point. But my main problem is me and Colin, we were playing together. I couldn't find him for about, what, 8 hours?
Well, it wasn't 8 hours. It
I
was
know,
like
all
20 minutes where we literally just had to be like, all right, I'm at this altitude.
No.
Fly around the planet. And
That's
try and
when we
find
got
me.
to air. I'm saying like how long we
Oh.
played until we actually got
Well,
together.
so that's kind of the thing, right? Is that it's supposed to be realistic. That the fact that every time you died, you woke up in
in your respawn in your bed.
like in a motel room.
Yeah.
And then had to take a train from the train station to get to the spaceport
And
somewhere
that
else
takes
in the
time.
city. Exactly. And so that's the point. Is
So if you got things to
realism
do,
comes with a price, is what I've learned from this game.
Yes.
One, the price is like, I mean, $45 to get in is like, okay.
So
like people generally in like Steam, you're not paying for whatever the early access games. You're never paying more than like $30 for those, unless it's
No.
like I guess Baldur's Gate, right? That's like $60, and that's still kind of early access.
Baldur's Gate's out. Like it's full release.
Really? I thought it was still in.
No, it's just the
Yeah.
online sketchy.
Oh.
Yeah, the only time you pay more than like $20-$30 for early access is when it's like right about to come out.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So like $45 is a lot for like essentially what I would term as an early access game, where a lot of it does work. But like as Liam can attest to, I like went prone and then tried to like exit a sauna on this yacht that we were on, and I just I literally couldn't get up.
He just
so
started
I just had to respawn.
He just started doing roly polies on the ground like infinitely.
Which is scary,
so I had to kill him.
Like exactly.
I had to
like,
put him out of his misery.
You have to do a hard reset like that, or you have to have somebody kill you. Is scary when you think about like
You lose your ship or like
right, like the stuff that
or it takes 3 hours back to get
that
you.
still happens when the game is actually done.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like if like I was on a planet and like something happened, like an AI ship like blew me up, like just ran into me. Like the consequences of that when the game's actually done, where it's like, oh, my ship is just it's gone. The way they said that the Death of a Spaceman will work, I watched a video on it. There's tons of videos on there about Star Citizen. People hate it or people love it. It's really 50-50, honestly. But as I will say first, $45 is all I will ever spend on the game, of US dollars. to be non-Canadian. Ooh,
So wait,
Canadian.
you're gonna convert all your all your money to like for whatever
I'll spend
currency.
I'll spend in-game credits. Like Liam, the other day we were flying around at a yacht, and it took literally like 30,000 credits to refill the fuel that disappeared in like 10 seconds of trying to get off the planet.
Yeah, like 50% of the fuel was spent when we were like outside the atmosphere. And I was like, how do I crash this bitch back into Earth?
Exactly. So one of the things they talk about is they're like, listen, when it'll like take a lot to kill you, but like your injuries will like stay with you a little bit. So like if your like leg gets blown off,
what if I shot you in the head?
You're probably dead. But there will be. They talked about.
Oh no! How does that stay with you?
You will have.
Got a little bit dumber.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. You're like, I don't know how to turn on the spaceship.
No more math. Math's gone.
All of your controls are switched.
What are these words?
Exactly. Your keybinds just disappear.
It turns all your letters into like hieroglyphics.
Exactly. But like, so the way it'll work is all of your earthly possessions will be passed on to like
your relatives,
your next of kin. You'll like design a next of kin, kind of like how in GTA you pick two parents, and then you actually are. That's how it works in Red Dead and GTA. You pick two parents, and then you can customize certain stuff.
I've never played it. Either of them.
It's an interesting way of doing character customization. But yeah, so it'll go to your next of kin who you like designate or like you create ahead of time. or you can like clone yourself, and then your consciousness will like go to the clone, but like there may
Some
be
Rick
like
and Morty shit.
there may be like cellular degeneration.
Project
if you, like,
Phoenix.
exactly, like if you don't have enough money, like you
Oh,
can't buy you
so
can't
you come
yeah, you
out
can't
like
buy more
goo.
clones.
I'm
Yeah,
goo.
and like there's ships that are supposed to have like medical functionality, like kind of like the end of like that of Star Wars where he's getting his hand replaced or whatever. So it's gonna be a really cool game
when it comes out, yeah.
when it comes out.
Yeah.
Right
When
now
it's
it's still
done.
kind of fun.
So
It's
the
fun
only
to just mess
reason-
around with.
The only reason I was playing it was because they had a 2020 Space Expo or whatever year it is.
2049.
2049 Space Expo for like all the new chips that were coming out, right?
More so they have one like every year, so they just
Oh,
like,
okay.
bam, COVID
Bam.
sucked. 2020 we didn't get to have an in-person citizen con, which is a thing. Bam, we're just gonna do a big thing. And
Well,
they
that's good.
apparently, I sent Liam this earlier, they made $15 million just in November.
Yeah, that's
Wow. That's
Which is
wild.
none of my money, but
somebody's
somebody's
cash.
I understand,
Cashish.
like it's more understandable to be like people. I talk to people in game a lot. And I'm like, why did you spend this much money? And it's like, oh, I spent it. I like only did credits in game to get the ship. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Some people are just like, I don't want to grind out the credits to buy a ship, and I'm like, I kind of understand that, but spending hundreds of dollars on a ship that doesn't even exist yet, that's a bit
So-
that's a bit out
That's
there for me.
yeah.
Spending money, like as we talked about, spending money on Valorant is out there for me. It's
So
it's a free game.
I kind of have a problem that you can buy ships.
I,
Where there's a lot of like PvP interaction
Yes.
in that game, so you can technically it's pay to win.
And I don't know, I haven't read up enough about it to know whether or not that will actually, how much of that will, like how many macro transactions, whatever,
Oh, is
how many of those will exist when the game actually comes out. Like if you'll still be able to buy ships, or whether it's literally just to fund the development. It's essentially, the way a lot of people look at it, which take it with a grain of salt, is it's essentially a crowd-funded game. It's
Mhm.
a lot of people call it like the largest crowd-funded project ever, which is, it's not wrong.
I don't think that's true because aren't some charities
least
just
the
crowdfunded?
crowdfunded game.
Yeah, I would say
guess
it's the
is-
biggest
Maybe that, yeah, I
crowdfunded
don't know.
game. Yeah, I would agree
maybe-
with that.
Yeah. I'd
yeah,
agree
so
with
it's like-
that. I mean,
So yeah, I think Liam, after looking at it, you can probably agree. It's going to be very cool.
I think it'll be a very, very cool game when it comes out. That's
Exactly.
that's a
Exactly.
big caveat because they're trying to make
If-
they're trying to make like so this is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
They're trying to make like this.
They're essentially, it is supposed to be like a procedural universe, kind
Yes,
of like
a-
No Man's Sky, except like
Real.
better,
like
good.
a lot bigger.
9 minutes.
Comes out and is actually semi-complete.
Yeah, like a hell of a lot bigger. Which is scary. And also who knows if they'll ever finish it. But I'm excited to see what happens, and that's the main reason I keep checking on it.
Yeah,
I don't
mean,
play
think
it that often.
at a game that scale and how much money they've acquired, I think it's possible they can finish it how they want, but it's gonna take a lot of time for them to
Well,
do
that's
that.
I mean, and that's the thing, is that's why it's nice to see that people are, who are more well endowed in the cash area than I am, are just like,
$100.
take the money. Exactly, because it's like, man, like I spent $45 in 2015. Yes, everyone else just throw money at it until it's done, and I'll be like, man, this is sweet. I can't believe they actually finished the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much
Um,
what's gonna happen for probably the next like 6 years while they try and finish it to what they
Exactly.
want.
So like, I like to look at people who like, who are really excited for Cyberpunk, right, and have been for a while, and they're like,
Ooh, I'm really
"Ah,
excited
man,
for it.
oh nuts, the game got delayed by like a couple months," and like
I-
there's people who
I have no
Exactly.
problem with that.
exactly, but there's people who have spent like thousands of dollars on this game,
And
and
they're
it like
still-
development started in like 2012. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, and like if you spent $200 on a ship in 2012 and it's not in the game yet,
Have
Yeah.
fun.
It'll be in the game in 5 years. No, you'll just have like a couple more planets, and like maybe you can play with friends now.
So, do you think they're ever going to give a solid release date since this game is actually not out?
So they've had a roadmap for a while, and they're updating the roadmap this year. So the
Gotcha.
other thing I haven't mentioned is there's going to be a single player campaign that comes with it.
Okay, that's actually
That's nice.
it's actually
That's pretty
interesting.
useful then.
Which is a big sticking point for a lot of people is they go, listen, pick one of them and finish it. Finish the single player one because it's smaller, and then while we're playing that, you do the other thing. So it's like a lot of people are like, listen, just like pick one part of it and work on that. Which is hard to say because I don't know a whole lot about video game development, but there are multiple different studios.
So one of my biggest problems with the game is it doesn't. So there's absolutely no suggestion for where to go,
there's not
for
really a
what to
tutorial.
do. There's absolutely nothing. I didn't. So I picked a planet quite far from Colin, obviously. Our landing zone 18 or whatever it's called, zone 18, I think. And when I got there, I was like, oh, this is cool. They don't explain anything, so I couldn't. I opened the door to my thing, and I didn't know where to go. So I was like, I just wandered around for like 30 minutes. I tried to open doors, but they didn't open because guess what? You can't open those doors. Oh, wait. I didn't even know there was an elevator. There's not even a sign for the elevator. It's just a button on a wall that kind of looks like a door. Like a space-age door.
Earlier I got on, and this is just like, to play the game, you have to be able, like, to even get in a ship, you have to get to
a space station.
You have to get to an international space station, which is essentially just an airport for spaceships. When I got back to the game, I didn't realize that they added like actual permissions for landing, where like if you fly where you're not supposed to fly, they'll just blow you out, like very little warning. They will just blow you out of the sky.
It's like beep beep boom.
There's a 5-minute penalty on smaller ships for to get them back essentially. And that's like the current form that insurance is taking. And so
I think that should be faster.
I got blown up by like spaceport security or whatever twice when I was getting back into it. I was like, oh, there's this blue thing in the sky I'm supposed to fly through to get into the atmosphere.
If you crash into a populated area, you can be given a crime stat. Which is a cool thing, I might add.
There's prison in the game.
There's prison in the game. And guess who DC'd while flying our ship and proceeded to crash directly into a planet with me in it?
That would be me.
And got a crime stat.
Yes.
That'd be Colin.
My dead corpse got a crime stat because I disconnected from the game.
He DC'd and it shot.
Not purposefully. It wasn't like, I'm gonna
alt F4
draft dodge on Valorant so that I don't have to. It's like, no, I literally just was like, Liam, good luck. My game crashed.
And I was like, I couldn't get in the chair because like he didn't actually DC from the game. His body was still in there, but it was just a bad time.
So
and
that's the scariest thing is when they talk about their grand plans for it's like, oh, prison, it's gonna be like real prison, or like insurance. It's gonna be like real
regular insurance. You gotta pay it.
The closest thing I can equate it to is like actually buying a car, but for like much cheaper. Because it's the real deal.
It's the real deal.
But yeah, so their grand plans and stuff, are it's scary that they talk about it when like I DC'd and I had to go to prison.
yeah, exactly.
Or like I flip out when I try and prone down some stairs. It's like, okay, before you like worry about everything
before
else,
you make all these restrictions and penalties to players, how about you make the game flawless?
And to get to the spaceport, you have to get to the train, and to get the train, you have to go down the elevator, right, Liam?
Yes.
Earlier, I hit call elevator. It opened the doors to the elevator, and the elevator had other doors that were closed, so I couldn't get on. I was like,
well,
I went Alt F4. All right, I'm done for the day. Maybe I'll hop back on later, see if it's working.
See if that bug's fixed.
And the thing is, the community, some of the community hates it, some of the community loves it. For better or worse, a lot of people play the game.
There
And
is a vibrant community in there
they
because
get
you're
the joke.
forced. So this is actually kind of a problem with the game as well. You're forced into a global chat with everybody.
I mean,
That's
you can turn
permanently
that
on
off.
your. You can turn it off.
Yeah.
I don't believe
it's
you.
somewhere in the settings.
But there's a permanent chat like in the right hand corner of your eye, and it's just like basically gen chat in any game.
Yeah.
So it could be like people telling somebody to go fuck themselves, or it could be somebody helping somebody out.
The coolest feature that I've seen so far in the
It's
game
like trade chat. Wow.
is it's called face over IP, and it's your classic like voice over IP is Discord essentially. Face over IP is not like Discord. It's essentially tracking. They facial track you onto your character's face. Like
Which
it's mocap, which
I
is
actually
pretty
tried
cool.
that. It is pretty cool. It
doesn't work very well.
there
right
isn't
now.
there isn't much facial definition to be
Yeah.
like, oh, he's smiling.
Um,
It's just more like, oh, he has his mouth open or the mouth is closed and his eyebrows are either going up or down.
The promise of that is you like think like the main is they take inspiration from like a whole bunch of stuff, right? From like Star Wars, from Star Trek, all that. And the coolest thing that like is it I think I've seen it work. I wasn't quite sure how to do it because I want to try it with him. But you can do face over IP when you call somebody in the game. When you quote unquote hail them. So I think in like Star Trek when you like call another ship and they show up on the main screen,
Yeah, okay.
you can do that like in your ship and they'll like
That's
see
kind of
you
cool.
and your face talking, which is really cool. Doesn't work right now.
I think it should actually like take a webcam feed and be like, hail.
Do like a zoom where you can choose your background, so it's the ship. They just cut you out.
No, but that's the main thing with Star Citizen is everything you say that's cool about it comes with a but or an if. So
it really does.
Ah man, ships are really cool if you can get into them. For a while, a week ago, I accidentally ejected out of my ship and I stored it, and then when it came back out, still did not have a seat in it. And I was like,
which just makes
guess
sense.
I'll go back in and get a different one.
Yeah. Like, how do you get a seat back? Is there a way to buy it back? Like
repairs.
Just repair it. Okay.
But yes, I have talked about my Star Citizen craze for long enough.
A little bit. Okay, since we're going on to our third patron, David, what is your choice for the RPG genre?
My choice is the Black Watchman.
What?
I think this so I have either of you heard this game?
Black Watchman. I've never.
Okay.
Never heard of that.
I think this really builds onto our thought that RPGs are very wide and
sprawling.
Variable. Yeah, it's very
category.
It's a very large category.
Yeah.
So you guys were very like fighting or like exploring space. So the Black Watchman is a group dedicated to like keeping the public from dangerous phenomenons. It is like the whole thing behind it.
That's
kind of like the SCP, if you think of that.
Oh,
but
wait, you know about the SCP? I was just about to compare it to that, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll nerd out about that in a second.
The game is all about it's pretty much like a puzzle game. Some of them like you have to actually go on your web browser and like look up websites that you find in game and like do things through that. Cool. It's really cool, very interesting. But you are like a Black Watchman like person in the game kind of thing.
Awesome.
It's pretty fun. I would recommend it. I've never actually played through it. I need to do that at some point, but from what I've played so far, it's been a lot of fun and very intriguing.
So I mentioned the SCP Foundation. You did as well. That's basically a subreddit of like different stories about like different monsters that like a specific organization is trying to control. But is the game kind of like that?
So it's a lot more just like based on completing puzzles, and there's kind of like an overarching story, but like the puzzles are all leaned towards like this guy has these weird things happening, like figure out like why by like hacking his email by going through these sites kind of thing.
Interesting.
And doing this
so like
kind of stuff.
Gaining information, trying to put it's kind of like almost amnesia where you put in the pieces together.
You have to put everything together, and then at the end I think one of them there was like a enter the right like keyword or something on why it's happening.
Okay.
Stuff like that. It's
so you put there's websites in game but like you actually put them into a browser.
Yeah, you put like they've made websites.
That's
in
insane.
That's really
actual
cool, right?
browsers that you
That's
have
like an
to look
escape
through.
room.
Yeah,
I
right.
know,
That's
right?
like putting pieces together in your
There's
mind.
a while ago when I was a kid, there was a book where they actually had like you read through the book and it would have like files that you would go to the author's webpage or whatever, and there would be like video clips that like
Mhm.
reference the story in the book,
Yeah.
and that's
Mhm.
kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, that sounds
Was
really
that
cool.
like 29 clues?
It's
whatever?
close to that. It may I think that was 39 Clues did that. But it was a separate book. It was
Oh,
called
I know what you're
Trackers.
talking about. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah. Give us a little bit more about it. So what's the if you've actually never played it?
I have. I've played bits and like I've played the beginning of it. I probably got
Okay.
like halfway through the game before I was like in the middle of high school and I had absolutely no time to complete it.
I get that.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do puzzles. I want to play Counter Strike. You know
Yeah,
that kind of.
I want to just shoot people.
I want to shoot things.
Yeah.
That's
Pow,
pretty
pow.
much where I was. But yeah, so basically you're given a task, you're given missions, like each level's a mission. Um, and then it depends. Some of them are like ritualistic, like murders or something that you have to figure out what's happened. I think one was a pharmacy that had like weird profits or like this drug that shouldn't be possible. So you had to figure out how that was possible. You had to like hack someone's email by like sending them the right key phrases for them to click on an email you send them and give them their password kind of thing.
So this on one hand it sounds a little like I want to say like Watchdog, like a little bit where it's like, so is it like is it a one storyline, or is it like more
It's
so like LA, or not LA Confidential, LA Noir, which is like you go
so
on, like there's different cases that you go on.
yeah, I'd say it's a
Um,
bit more like LA Noir from what I've played. There might be in the end like an overarching thing like you've completed it, but I think it's more like here's this mission. It's really cool. I know there've been a lot of DLCs since I last played it.
So
Um,
what was the name of the game again?
the Black Watchman.
The Black Watchman.
there's a really cool that you kind of reminded me.
Interesting.
It's called Black Hat, and it's essentially an
Oh, the TV
asymmetric
show?
VR.
No.
No, not the TV show. It's an asymmetric VR and PC game where essentially the person in VR is trying to break in to a place, and the person on the computer is like their guy in the chair, like Spider-Man guy in the chair, where essentially the guy in the VR headset like looks around a corner and sees the serial number of a robot, or like a security bot, and then the person on the computer types in the code, and then it'll like take down the robot for like a certain amount of time for you to sneak past.
By
Which
the
I always
way,
thought would be really cool, but I suck at stealth games, so.
by the way, Black Watchman is 25% off on Steam right now. If you want
Oh.
if you want to drop by and
The the bundle.
Yeah.
The game itself isn't. It's only $10 though.
the complete
not a-
library is on.
Yeah, the
on
complete
sale.
library is completely 25% off. But
Yeah.
I
but
mean, what's the price now, Liam?
it's the same thing. The base game is $10. The full
every
library is
expansion
60.
pack.
Is it what?
Yeah. There's
50?
so Allison
Yeah,
Smith is
yeah,
the
it's
people who
60.
made it, and all of their games are $58 right now. However, the bundle for just the Black Watchman is $20 total.
Okay.
Like that's all the DLCs and everything.
Sweet. So
Yeah.
it does look like that there's actually like live events that you can get into as well. Which
Yeah,
is
I've
really
seen a couple of those
cool.
pop up. I've never gotten a chance
How
to
does
do it.
I
but,
wonder how that works though.
I think you're all put towards a goal of like
Yeah,
figure this out,
I
and then
think
you can have like a global thing.
I think it's
that.
almost like a D&D event, like how have different tables work towards the same a goal, but they're on like a specific path.
I've never heard of either of those before.
Oh, it's actually pretty cool. They
I
have
didn't
like
realize that was the thing D&D did.
yeah, there's like full conventions based on it. It's actually a pretty cool thing if you want
That
to look it
sounds
up.
like when they have you do an
Yeah.
ethics seminar where you're like, break up into teams and try and figure out.
No, literally, yeah. It's like
Or
it's
that episode of Parks and Rec where they have to figure out the virus or whatever. Like, everybody's
yeah.
dead. We failed.
No, it's pretty much like
you
that.
play
Yeah.
Pokemon Go?
I did.
Do you
play
still?
Pokemon Go.
All right. Well,
I know
there-
about
in
raids.
recent news. Yeah, it's a lot like raids where you all have to do that.
Yeah, I would
don't
also
play-
compare
don't
it to
play Go
raids.
anymore, but It's a lot like that, where you're all geared towards something to do, and you have to get it done.
So, harkening back to us comparing all of our games, how? So I talked about a very like straight up like fighting and like monster hunting RPG, just like general, just like playing hunting monsters kind of like thing, just like getting into it. Um, very like primal based one, while Colin had a very space oriented. I'm going with Star Citizen. I picked one for you.
We talked about that one for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Probably the right choice.
Yeah. So yours is space themed. You have like almost flight sims in it and different really cool economical systems. And then we get over to David where he's got like crazy live events mixed in with like crazy in-depth puzzles in like this sprawling universe. So it's just really getting in depth with a world, basically.
I also think a large similarity between all of them is like there's very little like exposition on your character. It sounds like I don't know Monster Hunter whether or not they go into like from a child he's been hunting monsters.
It's very much like you are the hunter. The hunter did it. You did it.
So I think it's really more than anything because it's a role playing game.
Almost
it's
living your own character,
and you're not like you're not. It's not a first person game, but it is. You're essentially in the like you're not from a.
You're in this
perspective. Like
that
I'm watching Ezio or I'm watching
Ezio.
Any other of the assassins. I don't know why I picked Ezio.
Because he's the best. What are you talking about? You know that's true.
Altair, whatever.
Yeah.
Where and kind of
the
like
other
Cyberpunk
ones.
was just coming out, where it literally just you
What's
may not
the guy's
be
name?
like the character in terms of your perspective in the game.
No, there's an actual character in that one. It's yeah, it's there's a name to the guy. He's like a killer. He's got like weird things that come out of his arms.
You aren't talking about Keanu Reeves.
There's a guy.
No, that's Silverhand Luke or something like that. No, I know you're playing a specific character in the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like playing Dovahkiin in Skyrim. You're creating the character, but he still exists.
I think that this brings up a weird point of a lot of games have gone to the multiplayers having an RPG element themselves. Like I think a great thought of this would be GTA. And the recent single player, you are playing as Michael, you're playing as Trevor, them, but on multiplayer, you're your own person, you're who you created. And I think it's odd that a lot of games have kind of started gearing towards this like RPG style version of their own game for the multiplayer.
Well, especially in 2020, but just in general, I think it's a very appealing, and that's why VR will eventually take off. If it has already, I don't know. I mean, just look at Ready Player One, right?
I mean,
that is. It may not be to that extent yet, but that is what the future is. Is people being like, my life kind of sucks. I'm gonna go be somebody else.
I'm gonna go fight monsters.
Exactly, right? I'm gonna go be a monster. I'm gonna go be a secret agent. I'm gonna go be a spaceman.
Yeah.
Where it's literally just like, again, it's not like a FPS game.
Yeah.
Or a first person view all the time. A Star Citizen is primarily.
And I also love that
you are you're putting yourself, you're playing the game vicariously or whatever.
You're role playing.
Yeah. You're playing
role playing.
Yeah. Basically, I love that you can also shape the game to your own niche. Such as like Star Citizen. There's people that role play like, oh, I'm a captain of this ship. You're my crewmate. You're the engineer, and you're the scientist. Like they'll play different roles in the game, where their game's not forcing them to do it. It's just they're doing it.
That's what I meant about Hell Let Loose, right?
Yeah.
It's literally just like, you could play the game just stone faced and be like a Call of Duty guy, just be like, like
how do I shoot the thing?
You can, exactly. Who do I shoot first? But no, or you can be like the scared private. Like getting off of the beaches at Normandy, like, I don't want to die, please.
I just shit my pants. Can I go back on the boat?
It can be fun if you're just like, I'm just going in because it's an FPS, or you can go and be like, this is my life. Like, I got a wife back. I got a wife and kids back. I'm getting off this beach.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think a great game to bring into this is something like Gmod.
Yeah,
Back when that
yeah,
was a
I would
huge
completely
game,
agree.
was I mean it's still played excessively by many people, but like
I mean, yeah,
and it's like when it was the biggest, like there were servers like Clone War, like Star Wars servers, there were Harry Potter like anything that you could want, and you would just role play in them, and like people would like. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure people were mean if you didn't
I mean,
sometimes.
so
Oh,
there,
there's niches out there.
there is
Yeah.
certainly some people do get angry if you're going into like role playing and you don't really know what to do and you're trying it out for the first time. So there is some like I would say conflict that happens when you're doing it wrong or like you speak out of character.
It's very similar to how people some people really like to play D&D with like when you're not supposed to meta or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know the exact terminology.
So
But like where they get mad if you're not like I am
Yeah, yeah.
if you're not
I
in
am
character.
easy.
So that's like
Exactly.
comparing it to one of our D&D games. Me and Colin and David played. One of our wizards played basically a terrorist that would put bombs in books because that's the meta thing to do, which was fun. But like some people really don't like them doing weird stuff.
Well,
with
yeah,
the
and so
spells.
there's like it's interesting, especially there where um to be aware of like the community, right?
Yeah.
Because like with D&D, where like you can be like, oh, this part of whatever version 5e is broken, and I'm gonna exploit that so
Yeah.
that I can just do the most damage possible. Versus like someone who's literally just like me, who like I don't particularly care about like
Yeah, the damage that you
the
do,
rules or like
yeah.
exactly. I'm more into it because of the lore and the
I'll do a
storyline that we're
kickflip.
attempting to create, rather
Yeah.
than just like, what? How can I kind of? And which was hilarious because like when we were playing and I just like rolled 100 or whatever and we got the freaking insane sword.
Yeah.
That wasn't like, oh, I was like, if I use these 3 abilities, I can just ruin the DM's plans. No, that was completely by chance.
Yep, that was
and the
100%
funniest shit
chance.
that's ever happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's much
Yeah,
more rewarding when you
overall.
don't expect it.
Yeah, overall, I think that's pretty much in every role playing like category. You're gonna have the people who are taking it very. Yeah, I think there are 3 like categories people fit into, where they're either taking it really seriously, they're trying to find ways around it where they can just kind of exploit it or like do things that they shouldn't be allowed to do yet, kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
or they're just kind of there for the fun and story building of like the whole place. Like I think you're very like
And to almost
just
see
the fun.
see the story unfurl before them,
Yeah.
or almost like let the you don't have to have everything go perfectly. Let the things that are bad happen, and see
Yeah.
see how you can like overcome them, or see how the terrorist's book blows up a market that I designed a very special encounter for, which I'm not mad about, but I am, but it's okay.
I like that. Like the other thing is like, as coming back to role playing, is like when we first started the D&D campaign, you were like, introduce yourselves, and like we all tried to do characters,
Yeah.
and like I like to think at least I can hold an accent for like maybe a minute or two.
It's
But,
hard
like,
to hold one.
It's at a certain point you're
It's
just like,
hard.
can I just stop, please? Like I'm
Yeah.
tired. Like
Yeah.
I'll still like be like in character and be like, hey guys, like I think we should do this, but I'm not gonna try and keep up like an accent for like the rest of the campaign because that's insane.
Well, see that's the other thing is that you fit into that last category I talked about, but someone like Patrick, who we had played with at that point,
Mhm.
was very much into trying to make it like has to be
Very
like we
specific.
had to be talking in our voices kind of thing.
Yeah, very
That
like
kind, like
into the game.
he wasn't too bad about it or anything. Like I
No,
wasn't
not at
annoyed
all.
at him, but like he's one of those people that wants it like in depth. He wants it like
And
exactly
he wants
how he wants it
to do the most damage, and he wants to like specifically get all these stats. And we gave him the sword that Colin rolled for. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Would we like to? We talked about the 3 different worlds, right? That we each described in our games.
Yeah.
Mine being space, yours being monster hunting, the wild, the
The
forest,
wilds,
I guess.
the forests.
And then David's being, I guess, just like
weird
The
Cthulhu.
cyber world,
Paranormal investigators?
cyberspace.
Yeah, paranormal
Um,
investigators.
yeah.
By the way, we need to talk about
Is
the SCP
there
Foundation.
is there a specific world or canon or lore that like you feel like hasn't been like an RPG doesn't exist there and you would love for one to be? Because like now this is an issue because I'm asking the question, I'm trying to come up with one and I honestly can't.
So if you're trying to make like a new world and like do your own thing, I feel like that's something that you have to address and like almost develop. It's kind of like have you guys ever play like Spore or different things like that?
Yeah.
You know how no save is exactly the same. You can't repeat it exactly the same way. Different worlds have different obviously different mechanics, different things. You pick different choices, which is a lot of fun replaying RPGs. Is the different paths that you go down. And like the different weapons you make or like the different things you entail.
Yeah,
like,
I'll rephrase the question though.
Okay, yeah.
Is there a role that you feel like has not been done justice yet or that you haven't seen that you would really like to play? My answer is just like superhero, like Infamous kind of, but like literally you could just be
I
like,
would say
I'm going to like pick my origin story, or I'm like gonna like kind of like Wizard 101 or something, where you like design, where like you take a quiz of some sort, like a BuzzFeed quiz essentially, and then it's like, oh, you're gonna be like Human Torch, or like you're gonna be a guy with light, or you're gonna be the Flash or something, where like you do the quiz and it's like, listen, you're this type of superhero, go save the world. And yes, there is kind of a story, but it's open world. Like essentially I'm thinking the Spider-Man PS4 game that I platinumed, but like you could be anybody. Like you're not like, not, it's not in a canon, it's not DC or Marvel, but like the because like those, how many superpowers are there? There's like, you got somebody who's fast, you got somebody who can like super strong. It's like, how many are there? But just like literally it's just like you get put into a world and you're like, listen, you have these abilities because we matched your the house that you got sorted in for Harry Potter or whatever. Go fight bad guys.
So the question was, do you like a specific genre that hasn't been given justice
like
yet,
or just a role that you would really like to be put into that you haven't before, or that you feel like hasn't been done justice?
I would say there's no more than I would say there's no good multiplayer RPG supernatural game. Like almost supernatural investigation game, but like if Bloodborne were to be a multiplayer game, I would like to see it.
I think Phasmophobia, the game that we've recently gotten,
It's
is a good start into that. I don't
would
think it's
completely
exactly
agree.
what you're looking for, but
It's
I
not.
think that's
So you want like a Ghostbusters game, but like not
I want Ghostbusters.
Ghostbuster.
If Ghostbusters were actually like fighting Cthulhu.
Okay.
I want
what you
to
mean.
actually be like, you know how have you guys ever played Bloodborne?
Kind of.
I've seen videos.
yeah.
Okay, so like you're fighting monsters. It's like almost Dark Souls, but you're fighting
Yeah.
monsters and different things. But there's like a crazy amount of lore behind them and different things like that. And there's a big story behind it. And there's like Lovecraftian and like supernatural vibes. I'd like to see that in a multiplayer setting that like isn't just Ghostbusters. It's just like it actually takes itself serious, and like it's almost the closest
more
thing
modern than Bloodborne.
Yeah, sure. The closest thing I could see to it would be this weird game that me and my brother played. I need to find the name of it. It's like a Texas-based like gun game that you fight these like monsters in like a PvP.
Shoot, Hunt.
Yes, Hunt Showdown. That is almost it. I don't want to force the PvP aspect, but it's kind of what I wanted.
So then my follow-up question is, do you think RPG is better single player or multiplayer?
I think you should have the choice.
You think? Oh, okay. I was gonna say unequivocally multiplayer.
Really?
Because what is the point in me RPing in my bedroom by myself if nobody can hear me?
Oh my god, dude! I'm Dovahkiin. I'm king of White Castle, dude. I
mean,
play
but
Skyrim
I'm not gonna be
forever.
like I want more than anything from a role playing game, I want to make a fool of myself in front of other people.
That's
I
Like
think
in Hell Let Loose, the goal is to either get other people to do it with me, or for people to just be like, why? Like,
yeah.
who is this guy?
And I understand that. I'm a lot more in agreement with Liam, where I think it should be your choice whether you want to do multi or single player, because there are many people like you, Colin. Even I enjoy that sometimes, where I want to be enveloped into like a community of other people who I'm gonna force to be weird with, or like they're already weird kind of thing. But sometimes I would just like to sit and play a game alone and just like dive into the
Dive into
lore
a
that I've
story.
created, like my own world kind of thing. So I think I'm in a lot more agreement with Liam, where it should be a
Where you
choice.
should be a choice.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
the main reason why I think it should be a choice. It's like GTA. I like playing with people, but every once in a while I actually like doing the story and
the
not being
internet is
shot
an
by
awful
missiles.
place.
Exactly.
I think we can all agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
multiplayer is all like there's never going to be a guarantee, and that's why I think Arma and Gmod specifically have like people are very specific when they're like setting out the rules of their server or whatever, where they go like RP only, or like we take RP seriously, or like there's organizations that people form that you can join that you're going to RP, and then you have to like kind of agree with everyone. You have to sign like essentially a social contract with the rest of these people that like you're gonna try your best to role play with them. Because when if you just try to go out in the wild, like in Hell Let Loose, for example, I keep coming back to that. You can try your best. There's no way you're gonna get 99 other people to also be really into the role play with you. That will never work in just like an open server.
Yeah.
Now if you join like a Discord or something, you're like, hey, let's all go play. Like I know Arma specifically has a very large community of people who like are really into the RP of it, where they go in and they're like, all right, we're gonna be like a cracked like SEAL Team 6 essentially, and we're gonna do all the callouts correctly.
All
we do
callouts
this.
correctly, peek around the corners.
And that sounds fun, but that's very intimidating to a lot of people, including me.
I mean,
Because if you get it wrong and somebody dies, you're like, the blood is on my like you feel bad.
How
like,
can I accept this?
This is clearly some 40-year-old gentleman who's like
Yeah.
was actually a Navy SEAL and he knows
and just
like everything there is
sprayed
to know, and you're just like,
blades.
I thought there was somebody around the corner. Turns out I just gunned down my teammate
Yeah.
by accident.
By accident, I just killed Jim.
I forgot to yell nade.
I
I'm
just
sorry.
killed Jim. And so, yeah, I think we've gone over quite well how different RPGs can be and how much you can enjoy different parts, different aspects of the either story or the game, and how you can almost shape it to what you want in a specific aspect of that. And I think that really does cover most of what we needed to talk about. And I believe we hit home for what our favorite game and favorite RPG is. And thank you for coming out. And this is episode 1 of the Rat Chat. Thank you for coming, Flame Mango, and also Death Watch. Feel free to catch us next week at the same time. Always remember to drop a follow. And thanks for